cheap $20 thing from Walmart. All right, so we're not adjusting that right now. Oh my God, this one broke off too. Thanks, Walmart, for this cheap ass tripod. Jeez. No wonder people take so much time to make frickin' videos. The reason why I didn't make this video sooner is because after the last video on December 4th, I had one more encounter with abusive asshole. Instead of bleeping out his name, instead of using abusive asshole as a placeholder, maybe I should just change his name for this. What do you think? Let's think of something. How about John? We'll call him John from now on. So the reason why I didn't make this second video, the final humiliation, sooner, closer to the December 4th video, closer to when the final humiliation happened. Well, the reason why is because the final humiliation was so traumatic that my nervous system is still unraveling from it. As you could see from that December 4th video, I was pretty well out of the picture, but part of me was still willing to have an intimate relationship with this person. Enjoy intimacy together. That's because it was one of the most profound aspects of the relationship. It was one of the most loving aspects of the relationship. And in my past experience with this person, after a discard, after a blow up with him, you know, there would generally be, I learned, my body and mind learned that there would be a lull afterwards where there'd be basically like a wooing again, a honeymoon phase again. And that, so it's like, I knew that even if I wasn't gonna continue long term, I knew that immediately afterwards, for some period of time, we'd have, you know, something closer to what it was at the beginning again. And I liked that, and I always wanted to hold on to that, to grab onto that, and keep that close. And that's when, you know, I got to experience that profound intimacy with this person. And that's when this person would apologize and, you know, hold me and reassure me that everything was okay and that he didn't really mean the things he said and blah, blah, blah. It's very powerful to be in a position where you're almost beholden to your abuser emotionally until you really sever that, and it can be reignited again, even after a substantial period of time, just because of the intensity of it. And some of that brain chemistry I'll go into, just not right now, but so I knew, you know, there would be a period of time of reprieve afterwards, so to speak. Yeah, so after that December 4th video, you know, by December 8th, one night, it may have been Tuesday the 7th, he was sending me text messages, and I don't even want to go back and look at my text messages to verify this date and time and all that, but right in there, right somewhere within those days following the 4th, the lull set in of the sadness, the depression, the lethargy, the realizations, the letting go. the processing. And one night he sent me a picture of himself wearing these big headphones. And he said something, about getting these headphones. And I decided to send a text back, kind of making a little joke, just to see where he was at, his demeanor, I suppose. Because I found it was odd that he was texting me. And early on in our relationship, he coins this term for me. He called me his sextraterrestrial. And I liked this term because, on some level I felt that John and I were brought together by something bigger than us in the cosmos, something celestial. And I wanted to believe, whether it was true or not, that there was some divine influence outside of ourselves that was bringing us together, that our souls were reuniting from another place in time. And maybe there is some truth to that, because I do feel very strongly, I've never felt this way before, that John and I had, it sounds really weird to say the wrong name, but anyway, John and I had a soul level connection that felt to me like, we were either from the same soul group, or our souls had been involved together in the past, or, split souls, which is harder for me to get on board with, because I don't like to believe that my soul split from anybody else's soul. But there were so many feelings of being at home with this person. And then after the fact, I had to ask myself, was that an illusion? Was that a deception? I'm not sure. Anyway, so he was sending me text messages after that. He sent me a text message, which was a video of a song. Yeah, so there was this kind of like weird back and forth for a bit, one evening. And then the next day, which would have been Wednesday, the 8th, in the afternoon, sometime before I left work, he sent me a message asking me to buy him some supplements that he wanted, with my discount, and I said sure, but I said, can I bring them to you tomorrow? Tonight's not a good night. So the next day would have been Thursday the 9th, which was the final humiliation. So I got him his supplements, and then later that evening after work, I went over to his place, and he would always have cash up front if he asked me to buy him something. He was always really good about repaying you right away on the spot. So I thought it was kind of odd when he said to me, when I got there, like one of the first things out of his mouth, he's like, "Oh, I don't have any cash." And I said it was okay, it was all right. I thought that was kind of odd though, because he always has cash. He works for cash only. He doesn't accept checks. He doesn't have a W-2 job. So I thought that was weird, but I didn't think anything of it at the time. But you'll see later on, after the fact, after this night's over, why I began to believe and came to the conclusion that he invited me there that night intentionally to have one last opportunity to humiliate me, to ridicule me, and to abuse me. He never planned on paying me for those supplements. And he always planned on doing what he did to me, which I'll get to in just a minute. Now remember, on the December 4th video, I talked about you know, how a few days prior to that, over coffee, he started antagonizing me about the same stuff again, and then the interaction, the encounter with that person that I had briefly dated before him, that he had seen in the car, etc., or seen come up to my car to try and say hello to me. So if you didn't catch that scenario, definitely watch the first video. And pretty sure he was harboring his anger and disgust in regards to that, and using it to motivate himself to have me over for one more final humiliation. So the evening progressed, and we were both having some drinks, just sitting on his couch listening to music, talking. I mean, we could kind of talk for hours endlessly and listen to music endlessly together. And he would go in and out of, you know, moving toward this place of harping on this crap. And at one point, he you know, he went into the whole, like, leave, you gotta leave thing. And I was gonna go, and, like, just like that, like, whew, it was like he changed and calmed down. And, you know, some of the, it's how weird, like, I don't know how somebody can turn on a dime like that so easily. It's really weird. But I'm learning more about deception. He always calls me the liar, called me the liar. But I'm learning more about deception. So, like, he had a lot of qualifiers. He would often start his sentences with, to tell you the truth, to tell you the truth. And he uses a lot of sorries. Sorry. I was always like, stop apologizing. What are you apologizing for? Because he apologizes for the wrong things. He does it in colloquial conversation, things that one wouldn't need to apologize for. He's an over-apologizer. Oh gosh, don't get off track, right? So, right. So we're sitting there and we're talking, and he's switching back and forth between his mini rages and being fine. That's what I was gonna say. In context with this. So, you know, at times when he would be abusing me verbally, psychologically, during discards where he would, you know, kick me out, throw all my stuff out, things like that. Can't tell you how many times I woke up to, you know, your stuff is outside, blah, 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 blah. Texts like that. All your stuff, come get your stuff. He threw all my things out one time. Anyway, during these discards, at times, he would look at me. He would just look me in the eyes. He'd fucking smile at me. And I could never understand how this person was smiling at me, because in those interactions that were so debilitating and so upsetting, so emotionally scarring, you're standing there, you're crying, you don't understand why this person is doing what they're doing. They're hurting you, you're hurting. I can't turn around and emit a weird smile in that moment. But that's what he would do at times. He would look at me with this weird, conniving, like he's satisfied in seeing me hurt and struggle smile. That was a weird thing to experience. Inappropriate responses, okay? Pay attention to those things. So those were, inappropriate responses that I never could make heads or tails of. The final humiliation. So a couple hours go by, we're hanging out, and eventually, we move over to the bed to make love, which was one of the best things we did together. They were beautiful lovemaking experiences. And I think I held on to that for so long because it was such a stark contrast to all of the abuse. And it was the only time I got to see who I thought this person truly was. And being abused by somebody, oddly enough, you still want their love, approval, and attention. And the only person that can quote unquote make it right and bring you comfort, I mean, this isn't really true because you can make it right and you can bring yourself comfort. But of course, it's natural to seek that from the one that's hurting you. They're the ones that can stop it, so they're the ones that can make it right, so they can be comforting. So it's not uncommon to lie in the arms of your abuser afterwards to be comforted. So I was used to this, you know, I had gotten used to all of this. So we made love. And before he even let go of me in the bed, before he even let go of me, you know, his face is right here. He's spooning me from behind. He's holding me. I'm naked. He's naked. I have his bodily fluids inside of me. We just made love together. He's still holding me. And he starts ridiculing me, humiliating me before he's even let me go. I can't even really tell you the things that he said to me that night because it was so traumatizing. It was as if he just went off the edge of a cliff and let it all loose and just one thing after the other out towards me. How disgusting I am, what a whore I am, what a slut I am, how I need the attention of all these men, how I lied to him, how he could never trust me again, how I lied to him about this man. I'm so disgusting, I need to leave, you gross me out, you're so disgusting, I can't even look at you, I don't want you in my house, I don't want you in my bed, leave. He wouldn't get a breath in. It was just constant. And I was definitely brought back to the fight or flight mode from when the physical abuse happened in July, on July 15th. And I became paralyzed in his bed. And I pulled the covers over my head. Again, out of survival. It was like I didn't even know what to do. You know, I couldn't think, I couldn't move, I couldn't function. I became paralyzed by fear. And it was like I was waiting for a break so I could break loose. But that break never came. At one point he moved over to the couch, he laid down on the couch, he's still yelling at me, how are you gonna feel when you wake up here in the morning? Not wanted, unwanted. Oh God. It was during this time when he was on the couch saying these things and I was still in the bed that he grabbed my phone, which was on the table next to the couch, and he was like, you know, show me your phone, let me in your phone. If you have nothing to hide, you'll show me your phone. So, you know, I at this point I mobilized, I got myself up, I'm collecting my things, and I go to retrieve my phone from him. And like all of the times in the past where I thought if I just give him what he wants, he'll get it and he'll stop. So I opened my phone for him to see, and you know, he went into my messages and started scrolling through all my messages like a freaking maniac. And, you know, this went on for a minute. And I'm like, you know, that's enough. Like, you've seen what you wanted to see. Are you satisfied now? Like, give me my phone, please. And he's like, oh, you scrub your phone. You scrub your phone. I'm trying to stay really calm here because I haven't told you guys about the physiological effects that this all had on me over the last month plus. Which is why I didn't make this video sooner, because I physically couldn't, due to some physiological effects that happens that I'll get into. So I finally get my phone away from him and close it. Grab the rest of my things, which there weren't that many there, that night. And I have my coat on and I'm exiting his house and leaving, opening the door to leave. And he grabs me by my coat, grabs my coat and starts pulling me towards him back inside. Well, we're not together now, so let me see your phone. What does it matter? As if in a minute's time, everything shifted, which, mind you, we weren't together for some time now up until this point. Like, we'd still been seeing each other periodically, but we weren't together. And that fully triggered me back to July 15th here when there was the physical encounter, and he wouldn't let me out the door when I had finally gotten up after him being on top of me and my body parts hitting different parts of the, room, the floor, the wall, etc. And I'd finally gotten back up and made my way to the door. And I was screaming freaking bloody murder and was trying to get out of the sliding door. He kept pulling me back in. So it brought back visceral memories from that time of being pulled back in, not being allowed to leave on my own accord. So I started yelling, for him to let me go and that I was leaving. And luckily he did. He let me go. And I left. But in my mobilization that night, getting out of the bed and getting out, I felt so physically nauseous. I thought I was gonna throw up on multiple occasions. And he wouldn't shut the fuck up. And I kept saying to him, can you just shut up? Can you just stop talking for a minute so I can leave? Just stop talking and I will leave. I will be out of here. I'm getting all sweaty just talking about this. So that night, the nausea, this intense headache came on. I had that headache every single day for December into January, and I'm still dealing with the repercussions of this. I'm not through it yet. I'm now so triggered even by talking about headaches, and even in making this video, this is like one of my best mornings so far, where I haven't felt anything in my head, headache-wise. But just in talking to you guys on this video, I can feel like a slight pressure starting to come. And it's been on the left side and intermittent, but it wasn't intermittent at first. It was very consistent. After 2 weeks straight of it, I was damn near losing my mind. I couldn't function at work. And I had to cancel, presentations that I had scheduled to give. There were a couple of days where I couldn't even go into work. It was so bad. I couldn't be in light. I couldn't be around people. I was just constantly breaking down. I don't even want to describe the full intensity of it because it's just too fresh. It's too fresh. Needless to say, I'm moving in the right direction, but I'm still dealing with the physiological effects of this. This was worse than the physical attack in July. Fucking worse. He humiliated me and ridiculed me and abused me so thoroughly that evening that my whole body began to shut down. My body didn't feel safe with me anymore because my body, my nervous system began to feel that I was betraying it by putting myself in this situation over and over. I knew that night that there was absolutely no way in hell that we could have any communication again going forward, see each other, nothing. But that marked the beginning of a journey of 1,000 miles of healing. And that journey is still in the beginning phases. And before I go any further on this topic, I need to take a break. Because it's getting hard to hold my head up and look at the camera without feeling like I might have a headache. So I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna go to work and I'm gonna have a good day. Whatever my head decides to do, I'm gonna have a good day. And I'm gonna take care of myself, like I have been. Dedicated to my self-care, my healing. And then I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna tell you guys the rest of the final humiliation. I mean, you got the gist of it now. But we need to talk about lying. And we need to talk about truth. And we need to talk about those things before we get to the first incident and begin going through the chronology of this relationship and the abuse. One step at a time. It's okay. You should let him go before he hurts you now. Before he bites you now. You wanna see his hair, but it ain't true. I love you, Morgan. I won't betray you again. You should let